The rescue. The crimson sun of Proxima Centauri b cast long shadows across the alien landscape as Captain Ethan Drake surveyed the desolate terrain through the cracked visor of his exosuit. The first human to set foot on this distant world, he couldn't shake the feeling that he was being watched. Every step he took kicked up swirls of rusty dust, leaving a trail of footprints that stretched back to his modest lander. Ethan's mission was simple: scout the planet for potential colonization. But after 3 days of exploring, he had found little more than rocks and an unnerving silence. He was about to radio back to his orbiting ship when a faint sound caught his attention, a sound that didn't belong in this lifeless world. Climbing a nearby ridge, Ethan peered into a shallow ravine. His heart nearly stopped. There, half buried in the rust-colored soil, lay a figure. It wasn't human, but it was undeniably alive. The alien was small, perhaps the size of a human child, with iridescent skin that shimmered in the dying light. Its large, almond-shaped eyes were closed, and its chest rose and fell with labored breaths. Ethan's training screamed at him to back away, to call for instructions, to do anything but approach the unknown life form. But something deeper, more instinctual, propelled him forward. As he slid down the embankment, the alien's eyes fluttered open. They were a startling shade of violet, filled with both fear and wonder. It tried to move but winced in pain. "Easy there," Ethan said softly, knowing the alien couldn't understand him, but hoping his tone would convey his intentions. "I'm not going to hurt you." The alien watched him warily as he approached, its body tense. Ethan held up his hands in what he hoped was a universal gesture of peace. He pointed to himself. "Ethan," he said clearly, then pointed to the alien with a questioning look. The creature blinked, then made a series of musical clicks and whistles. "Lyra," it seemed to say, though Ethan wasn't sure if that was a name or simply a sound. Ethan nodded, smiling behind his visor. "Okay, Lyra. Let's see if we can get you patched up." He reached for his medkit, moving slowly to avoid startling the alien. As he did, he noticed something odd about the ground around Lyra. It was scorched, as if by some intense heat. Looking closer, he saw fragments of what appeared to be advanced technology scattered nearby. With a start, he realized this wasn't just an injured alien, it was a crash survivor. As Ethan began to treat Lyra's wounds, thankfully superficial, his mind raced. Protocol dictated that he should report this immediately. The discovery of intelligent alien life would change everything. But as he looked into Lyra's eyes, saw the trust beginning to form there, he hesitated. Something told him that broadcasting his information might put Lyra in danger. Just then, his comm crackled to life. "Captain Drake, this is Mission Control. We've detected an anomaly in your vicinity. Please report." Ethan looked at Lyra, then at the scattered debris. In that moment, he made a decision that would alter the course of human history. "Negative, Mission Control," he replied, his voice steady. "Just some unusual geological formations. Nothing to report." As he continued to tend to Lyra, Ethan knew he was crossing a line. But looking at this fragile alien life form, he felt a fierce protectiveness well up inside him. Whatever had brought Lyra to this planet, whatever she was running from, Ethan was now involved, and he would do whatever it took to keep her safe. The next few hours were a blur of activity. Ethan worked tirelessly to stabilize Lyra's condition, using his limited medical training and the advanced tools in his kit. The alien watched him with a mixture of curiosity and apprehension, occasionally making soft, musical sounds that Ethan interpreted as either pain or gratitude. As the planet's long night began to fall, Ethan realized he needed to move Lyra to shelter. The temperature on this world plummeted drastically after dark, and neither of them would survive long exposed to the elements. With gentle movements, he scooped up the small alien, cradling her against his chest. Lyra tensed at first, then relaxed, seemingly understanding his intent. The trek back to Ethan's lander was slow and treacherous in the fading light. Every step had to be carefully measured, Every decision weighed against the risk of jostling his fragile cargo. By the time they reached the small ship, Proxima Centauri B's twin moons had risen, casting an eerie, purple glow across the landscape. Inside the lander, Ethan created a makeshift bed for Lyra using spare thermal blankets. The alien's eyes darted around the interior of the ship, taking in the unfamiliar technology with obvious fascination. Ethan couldn't help but smile at her curiosity. Despite the vast differences between them, there was something undeniably intelligent and aware in those violet eyes. As he settled Lyra into her new bed, Ethan's comm unit buzzed again. He stepped into the airlock to take the call, not wanting to disturb his guest. "Captain Drake, we're picking up some unusual energy readings from your location." The voice of his mission commander crackled through the speaker. "Are you certain there's nothing to report?" Ethan's heart raced. They must be detecting traces of Lyra's crashed ship. He took a deep breath, steadying himself before responding. "Just some background radiation, sir," he lied, hating the taste of deceit, but knowing it was necessary. "I'm running some tests, but I don't think it's anything to be concerned about." There was a long pause before the commander replied, "Very well, Captain, but if anything changes, I want to know immediately. Remember, the success of this mission could determine the future of human expansion into the stars. We can't afford any mistakes." "Understood, sir," Ethan said, ending the transmission. He leaned against the airlock door, the weight of his decisions pressing down on him. He was risking everything: his career, the mission, potentially even the future of humanity, for an alien he'd just met. And yet, he couldn't bring himself to regret it. Returning to the main cabin, Ethan found Lyra attempting to sit up. He rushed to her side, gently easing her back down. "Easy there," he said softly. "You need to rest." Lyra made a series of clicks and whistles, her face scrunched up in what Ethan interpreted as frustration. She pointed to herself, then to the stars visible through the lander's small window, then back to herself. The message was clear. She was trying to tell them where she came from. Ethan nodded, pointing to the stars as well, then to himself. "Me too," he said. "We're both a long way from home." For a moment, they sat in companionable silence, two beings from distant worlds united by circumstance and compassion. Then Lyra's eyes widened in alarm. She grabbed Ethan's arm, pulling him towards the window with surprising strength. Outside, a bright light was growing on the horizon. At first, Ethan thought it might be the rising sun, but the quality of the light was all wrong, too harsh, too artificial. With a sinking feeling in his stomach, he realized what it was: a ship, and it was heading straight for them. Lyra's grip on his arm tightened, her whole body trembling. Whatever that ship was, it terrified her. And that was all Ethan needed to know. In that moment, all of Ethan's doubts and hesitations vanished. He had made a choice to protect Lyra, and he would see it through, no matter the cost. With quick, decisive movements, he began powering up the lander. "Hold on," he told Lyra, strapping her securely into one of the passenger seats. "We're getting out of here." As the engines roared to life, Ethan sent out one last transmission to his orbiting ship. "Mission Control, this is Captain Drake. I'm detecting some geological instabilities. Going to relocate to a safer area. Will report back once I've found a secure location." He didn't wait for a response. The lander lifted off just as the unknown ship crested the ridge where Ethan had found Lyra. In the rear view screen, Ethan caught a glimpse of sleek, predatory vessel unlike anything humans had ever built. As they shot into the upper atmosphere, alarms blared throughout the cabin. The pursuing ship was faster, more advanced, and it was gaining on them rapidly. Ethan's mind raced, searching for options. They couldn't outrun it, couldn't outfight it. There was only one choice. With a silent apology to his mission commanders, Ethan fired up the experimental faster-than-light drive. It was untested, unstable, and using it this close to a planetary body went against every safety protocol. But it was their only chance. He looked over at Lyra, saw the trust in her eyes, and knew he was making the right choice. As the stars around them began to blur, as the fabric of space-time itself seemed to stretch and twist, Ethan made a silent promise. He would keep Lyra safe, would unravel the mystery of her origin and her pursuers, no matter where this journey took them. The landers shuddered, reality itself seemed to scream in protest as they broke the light barrier. The pursuing ship vanished from their sensors. In a burst of impossible speed, Ethan and Lyra vanished into the depths of space, leaving behind a mystery that would puzzle both their species for years to come. As the chaos of FTL travel enveloped them, Ethan felt Lyra's small hand grasp his. In that touch, he felt the weight of trust, of responsibility, and of a future neither of them could have imagined. Whatever came next, they would face it together. The rescue was complete. The journey was just beginning. Cosmic fugitives. The vastness of interstellar space stretched before them, an endless canvas of stars and cosmic dust. Captain Ethan Drake's small lander, never designed for this kind of journey, groaned under the strain of faster-than-light travel. Beside him, the alien he had come to know as Lyra watched the swirling vortex of hyperspace with wide, violet eyes. As the initial rush of their escape faded, the reality of their situation began to sink in. They were fugitives now, running from an unknown threat, with no clear destination. Ethan's mind raced, trying to process the enormity of what he had done. He had abandoned his mission, betrayed the trust of his superiors, and thrown away years of careful planning and diplomacy, all for an alien he barely knew. And yet, looking at Lyra's delicate form, seeing the mix of fear and gratitude in her eyes, Ethan knew he would make the same choice again in a heartbeat. The lander's computer chimed, signaling the end of their FTL jump. The swirling lights of hyperspace faded, revealing a star system Ethan didn't recognize. 3 suns danced in a complex orbital pattern, their combined light casting an eerie, ever-shifting glow on a massive ringed planet nearby. "Where are we?" Ethan muttered, more to himself than to Lyra. To his surprise, the alien responded with a series of musical clicks and whistles. She pointed to a holographic display of the system, then to herself. Ethan's eyes widened in realization. This is your home system." Lyra nodded, her iridescent skin shimmering with what Ethan was beginning to recognize as excitement. But there was something else in her expression too, a hesitancy, a fear that seemed at odds with the idea of returning home. Before Ethan could ponder this further, the lander's proximity alarms blared to life. A massive ship had just dropped out of FTL behind them, its design unlike anything Ethan had ever seen. It was organic, almost alive, with pulsing veins of energy running along its hull. Lyra let out a terrified shriek, grabbing Ethan's arm and pointing at the ship. The message was clear. These were the ones they had been running from. Ethan's military training kicked in. He maneuvered the lander behind one of the system's many asteroids, buying them a moment to think. "Okay," he said, trying to keep his voice calm for Lyra's sake. "We can't outrun them, and we sure as hell can't outfight them. We need a plan." As if in response to his words, Lyra began frantically manipulating the lander's holographic display. Her fingers danced over the controls with surprising dexterity, bringing up schematics of the ringed planet. She pointed to a specific location, then made a diving motion with her hand. Ethan studied the display, his eyes widening as he understood. "You want us to go into the planet's atmosphere, but the rings, the gravitational forces would tear us apart." Lyra shook her head vehemently, pointing again at the specific location. Ethan zoomed in on the area and gasped. Hidden within the swirling storms of the gas giant was a structure, artificial, advanced, and definitely not of human origin. A hidden base, Ethan breathed. Clever girl. The proximity alarms screamed again. Their pursuers had found them. It was now or never. "All right, Lyra," Ethan said, strapping himself in. "I hope you know what you're doing." He fired up the engines and aimed straight for the gas giant. The pursuing ship, caught off guard by their suicidal charge, hesitated for a crucial moment. By the time they realized Ethan's plan, it was too late. The lander plunged into the planet's upper atmosphere, immediately buffeted by howling winds and crackling energy discharges. Ethan's hands flew over the controls, every ounce of his pilot training put to the test. Lyra, for her part, interfaced directly with the ship's systems, her touch somehow allowing the small craft to withstand forces that should have crushed it. Through gaps in the swirling clouds, Ethan caught glimpses of their pursuer. The organic ship was struggling, clearly not designed for atmospheric flight. Its energy weapons lashed out, but the storm absorbed the blasts harmlessly. Just when Ethan thought they couldn't take any more punishment, a massive structure loomed before them. It was like a city floating in the clouds, its architecture a blend of technology and artistry that took Ethan's breath away. A docking bay opened up, and Ethan aimed for it, praying that whoever controlled this place was friendly. As they touched down, the sounds of battle faded, replaced by an eerie silence. Ethan turned to Lyra, 1,000 questions on his lips, but the words died as he saw her expression. She was staring at the structure around them with a mixture of relief and dread. Whatever this place was, it was clear that Lyra had complicated feelings about it. The lander's hatch opened with a hiss, and a group of aliens entered. They were similar to Lyra in appearance, but taller, with an air of authority about them. One stepped forward, its gaze fixed on Lyra. To Ethan's shock, when it spoke, he could understand it. "Welcome home, Princess Lyra," the alien said, its voice resonating directly in Ethan's mind. "We feared we had lost you forever." Ethan's jaw dropped as he turned to Lyra. "Princess," he managed to croak out. Lyra, or Princess Lyra, apparently stood, her bearing suddenly regal despite her small size. She made a series of gestures and sounds that Ethan couldn't follow, but the effect on the other aliens was immediate. They bowed deeply. The leader turned to Ethan, its multifaceted eyes unreadable. "Human," it said, "you have done us a great service by returning our princess, but I'm afraid your presence here complicates matters greatly." Before Ethan could respond, alarms blared throughout the structure. On a nearby screen, Ethan saw the organic ship that had been pursuing them. It was descending towards the hidden city, weapons charged. "The harvesters," one of the aliens hissed. "They found us." Lyra grabbed Ethan's hand, pulling him towards a large, circular platform. The other aliens followed, taking up positions around the edge. As soon as they were all in place, a shimmering force field sprang up around them. "What's happening?" Ethan asked, his head spinning from the rapid turn of events. The alien leader fixed him with a solemn gaze. "We are evacuating," it said. "Our long war with the harvesters has finally reached its end. This city, our last refuge, has fallen. Thanks to you, we have a chance to save our princess and preserve our species. But the journey ahead will be perilous, and we cannot guarantee your safety." Ethan looked at Lyra, saw the pleading in her eyes, and made his decision. "I'm not going anywhere," he said firmly. "Whatever's coming, we face it together." Lyra's face lit up with a smile that seemed to illuminate the entire room. She took Ethan's hand, intertwining her delicate fingers with his. The platform began to hum with energy. Through the force field, Ethan saw the harvester ship grow larger, its weapons powering up for a killing blow. But before they could fire, reality itself seemed to bend around the platform. In a flash of impossible light, the floating city vanished, taking Ethan, Lyra, and the last survivors of her species with it. They were hurtling through space and time, fugitives from a war Ethan didn't understand, towards a future none of them could predict. As the cosmos blurred around them, Ethan felt Lyra squeeze his hand. In that touch, he felt a promise that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them side by side, human and alien, bound by an act of compassion and the shared experience of becoming cosmic fugitives. The journey that had begun with a simple act of rescue had now become something far greater. It was a quest for survival, for understanding, and perhaps for a way to end the conflict that threatened not just Lyra's people, but potentially the entire galaxy. As they hurtled through the vastness of space, Leaving behind the fallen city and the relentless harvesters, Ethan realized that his decision to help Lyra had set in motion events that would reshape the destiny of multiple species. The weight of that responsibility was daunting, but looking at the determination in Lyra's eyes, he knew they were equal to the task. Whatever the future held, one thing was certain: the universe would never be the same again. Echoes of eternity. The universe twisted and churned around them as the evacuation platform hurtled through dimensions beyond human comprehension. Ethan Drake, former Earth explorer turned galactic fugitive, clung to the alien Princess Lyra as reality itself seemed to fracture and reform with each passing moment. Suddenly, everything stopped. The violent lurching ceased, replaced by an eerie stillness. Ethan blinked, his eyes struggling to adjust to their new surroundings. They stood in a vast chamber that seemed to stretch infinitely in all directions. The walls, floor, and ceiling, if such terms even applied here, shimmered with an opalescent light that shifted and flowed like liquid starlight. "Where are we?" Ethan breathed, his voice echoing strangely in the impossible space. The alien leader who had greeted them in the Cloud City stepped forward, its multifaceted eyes reflecting the swirling lights around them. "This," it said, its telepathic voice tinged with awe, "is the nexus of echoes. A place outside of time and space, where all possibilities converge." Lyra made a series of musical clicks and whistles, her delicate form trembling with what Ethan now recognized as a mixture of excitement and trepidation. The alien leader nodded solemnly. "Yes, Princess," it replied. "The ancient prophecies speak of this place. It is here that we must make our stand against the harvesters. Here, where the fate of not just our people, but all sentient life in the universe, will be decided." Ethan's mind reeled. Just days ago, his biggest concern had been collecting soil samples on a distant planet. Now he stood in a place beyond imagination, caught up in a conflict that spanned galaxies and threatened the very fabric of existence. Before he could fully process this, the chamber began to shift. The flowing lights coalesced into shapes: planets, stars, entire galaxies swirling around them in a cosmic dance. Ethan realized with a start that they were looking at a map of the universe itself, but one that moved and changed as he watched. "The Nexus allows us to see all potential futures," the alien leader explained, gesturing to the swirling galactic display. "Every decision, every action, creates ripples that echo through eternity. The harvesters seek to control these echoes, to reshape reality itself according to their will." As if summoned by the words, a dark mass appeared at the edge of the universal map. It spread like a cancer, consuming stars and galaxies in its wake. Ethan felt Lyra's grip on his hand tighten. "But why?" Ethan asked, struggling to comprehend the scale of what he was seeing. "What do these harvesters want?" The alien leader's eyes dimmed. "They are not like us, human. The harvesters are not a species, but a hive mind born from the dying throes of a universe that came before ours. They seek to consume all life, all energy, to fuel their eternal existence." Ethan's blood ran cold. How can we possibly fight something like that? To his surprise, it was Lyra who answered. Her voice, speaking directly into his mind for the first time, was like a symphony of starlight. "With hope, Ethan Drake. With the one force in all of creation that the harvesters cannot comprehend or control, love." The chamber shifted again, and Ethan found himself looking at a swirling vortex of energy. Within it, he saw glimpses of his own past, the moment he decided to help Lyra, their harrowing escape, the growing bond between them. But he also saw other moments, ones that hadn't happened yet, battles yet to be fought, worlds yet to be saved, and a future where humans and aliens stood together against the darkness. The prophecy speaks of two beings, the alien leader intoned, from worlds separated by vast gulfs of space and understanding. Their union would create a force capable of reshaping the very foundations of reality. We believe this to be a myth, a story to give hope to our people in their darkest hours. But now, it turned its multifaceted gaze on Ethan and Lyra. Now we see the truth before us. Ethan looked at Lyra, saw the same mix of disbelief and dawning realization in her violet eyes that he felt in his own heart. Their meeting, their journey, it hadn't been chance. It was destiny. But before they could fully grasp the implications of this revelation, alarms blared throughout the Nexus. The swirling galactic map turned red, pulsing with urgent light. The Harvesters, the alien leader, hissed. They found a way to breach the Nexus. They come for the princess, and for you, Ethan Drake. The chamber shuddered, cracks appearing in what had seemed like an unbreakable reality. Through them, Ethan caught glimpses of the organic harvester ships, their tentacle-like appendages reaching through the gaps in space-time. What do we do? Ethan shouted over the cacophony of shattering dimensions. Lyra's voice rang in his mind, clear and determined. We fight, Ethan, not just for ourselves or our peoples, but for every life in every possible future. She raised her hands, and to Ethan's amazement, threads of pure light began to flow from her fingertips. They wove through the air, forming complex patterns that pulsed with power. The other aliens joined her, adding their own light to the growing tapestry. The song of creation, the alien leader explained, its own light joining the chorus. The fundamental frequency of reality itself, but it's not complete. We need you, Ethan Drake. We need humanity's voice in the cosmic choir. Ethan hesitated, overwhelmed by the sheer impossibility of it all. But then he felt Lyra's hand in his, saw the trust and love shining in her eyes. In that moment, he understood. This wasn't about grand destinies or cosmic wars. It was about two beings from different worlds choosing to stand together, to fight for a future where others could make that same choice. Taking a deep breath, Ethan raised his free hand. To his astonishment, light began to flow from his fingertips as well, not the ethereal glow of Lyra's people, but a warm, golden radiance that spoke of Earth's sunsets and the indomitable spirit of humanity. As his light joined the tapestry, Ethan felt something shift in the very fabric of reality. The cracked ceiling, the harvester's tendrils being pushed back. But more than that, he felt connected to Lyra, to her people, to the entire universe in all its infinite possibilities. The song of creation reached a crescendo, and for a moment that stretched into eternity, Ethan glimpsed the truth behind all things. He saw the harvesters for what they truly were, not an unstoppable force, but a cosmic mistake born of fear and loneliness. He saw the myriad futures stretching out before them, each one a delicate thread in the grand tapestry of existence. And at the center of it all, he saw himself and Lyra, two unlikely heroes from different ends of the cosmos, brought together by chance and bound by something far stronger than mere fate. As the song faded and reality reasserted itself, Ethan knew that this was only the beginning. The harvesters had been pushed back, but not defeated. The true battle for the future of all life in the universe was just beginning. But looking at Lyra, seeing the determination in her eyes, and feeling the strength of their bond, Ethan knew one thing with unshakable certainty. Whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together. Human and alien, bound by love and a shared vision of a universe where all beings could choose their own destiny. The nexus of echoes pulsed around them, reality itself seeming to hold its breath in anticipation of what was to come. The fate of countless worlds now rested in their hands. And as Ethan and Lyra stood side by side, their lights intertwining in a promise that transcended words, the universe itself seemed to whisper. The echoes of eternity have only just begun to sound. Quantum entanglement. The aftermath of the battle in the nexus of echoes left Ethan and Lyra changed in ways they were only beginning to understand. As the swirling energies of the interdimensional space calmed, they found themselves back on solid ground, or what passed for it in this realm beyond conventional physics. Ethan flexed his fingers, still feeling the lingering warmth of the golden light that had flowed through him. He turned to Lyra, her iridescent skin shimmering with residual energy from the song of creation. "So," he said, attempting to lighten the mood, "I guess we're some kind of cosmic power couple now." Lyra's musical laughter echoed in his mind, a sound that seemed to make the very fabric of reality vibrate in harmony. "Oh, Ethan," she replied, her telepathic voice tinged with both amusement and gravity, "you have no idea how true that is." Before Ethan could respond, the alien leader, who had introduced himself as Zorax, approached them. His multifaceted eyes seemed to contain entire galaxies as he regarded the unlikely pair. "The quantum entanglement has begun," Zorax announced, his tone reverent. "Your beings are now linked across all possible realities. It is both our greatest hope and our gravest danger." Ethan blinked, trying to process this. "Quantum entanglement? You mean like with particles?" Zorax nodded. "But on a scale encompassing entire souls. Your actions, your very thoughts, now resonate across the multiverse. The harvesters will stop at nothing to sever this connection, or worse, to corrupt it for their own purposes." As if on cue, the nexus shuddered. In the distance, dark tendrils began to seep through cracks in reality once more. The harvesters were regrouping, preparing for another assault. "We need to move," Lyra said urgently. "We can't let them trap us here." Zorax gestured towards a pulsing portal that had appeared nearby. "This will take us to the Crucible of Worlds. It's our last refuge, a place where the boundaries between realities are thin. There, we can complete the entanglement and unlock your true potential." As they rushed towards the portal, Ethan's mind raced. "Wait," he said, a thought striking him. "If we're entangled across all realities, doesn't that mean there are other versions of us out there? Couldn't we call for help?" Lyra's eyes widened, a spark of hope igniting within them. "The multiversal beacon," she breathed. "It's not just a myth." Zorax looked between them, a mix of fear and admiration in his gaze. "It's never been attempted," he warned. "The risks are worth it," Ethan finished firmly. "If we're going to save not just our universe, but all universes, we need all the help we can get." With a nod of agreement, they stepped through the portal. The sensation was unlike anything Ethan had experienced before. It felt like being unmade and remade 1,000 times in the span of a heartbeat. When reality solidified around them, Ethan gasped in awe. They stood on a vast platform suspended in a sea of swirling cosmic energies. All around them, fragments of different worlds floated by, pieces of planets, stars, and realities that had never been. "The Crucible of Worlds," Zorax explained. "A place where all possible realities collide and coalesce. Here, the laws of physics are suggestions at best." As if to demonstrate, Zorax waved his hand, and a piece of a nearby floating mountain broke off, reshaping itself into a complex device that thrummed with power. "The multiversal beacon," he said. "But be warned, activating it will alert not just your other selves, but the harvesters as well. We will be fighting a war across realities." Ethan looked at Lyra, saw the same determination in her eyes that he felt in his heart. They nodded in unison. "Do it," Ethan said. Lyra placed her hand on the device, and Ethan covered hers with his own. The moment their entangled beings touched the beacon, everything changed. Ethan's consciousness expanded, flowing outward across the multiverse. He saw countless versions of himself and Lyra, some nearly identical, others wildly different. In one reality, he was a cybernetically enhanced soldier fighting alongside a Lyra who commanded legions of sentient stars. In another, they were both energy beings, their love literally lighting up entire galaxies. But he also saw darker realities, worlds where the harvesters had won, where he and Lyra had failed or, worse, been turned against each other. The weight of infinite possibilities threatened to crush his psyche. Then he felt Lyra's presence, her mind intertwining with his across the vastness of the multiverse. Together, they sent out a call, a plea for aid that resonated through every reality. As their consciousness snapped back to their own bodies, Ethan and Lyra stumbled, overwhelmed by the experience. But there was no time to recover. The Crucible of Worlds shook violently as rifts began to tear open all around them. Through these gaps in reality, Ethan saw armies gathering. Some were familiar, versions of Lyra's people, advanced human civilizations, allied alien races. But others were beyond comprehension, beings of pure thought, living constellations, entities that seemed to be made of mathematics itself. And opposing them, emerging from rifts that oozed darkness and despair, came the harvesters. Not just the ones from their reality, but every version from across the multiverse. A horde of cosmic horrors bearing down on the crucible of worlds. "It's time," Zorak said, his voice steady despite the chaos erupting around them. "The quantum entanglement must be completed. Only then will you have the power to lead our forces against the harvesters." Ethan turned to Lyra, taking her hands in his. Around them, the battle was beginning to rage, reality itself buckling under the strain of so many conflicting forces. "Are you ready for this?" he asked, searching her violet eyes. Lyra's response came not in words, but in a flood of emotions and memories, everything they had been through, everything they meant to each other, and the infinite possibilities that lay before them. As their lips met in a kiss that defied the laws of physics, Ethan felt the quantum entanglement surge to completion. Their beings merged not just in body and mind, but in soul, across every possible reality. Power unlike anything he had ever imagined coursed through him. He saw the strings of reality itself, understood the cosmic dance of creation and destruction that underpinned existence, and he knew with unshakable certainty that he and Lyra were now something more than either human or alien. They were the cosmic convergence, the living embodiment of unity between all sentient beings. As they parted, still buzzing with newfound power, Ethan and Lyra turned to face the oncoming horde of harvesters. Behind them, armies from across the multiverse rallied, ready to follow the cosmic convergence into battle. Ethan squeezed Lyra's hand, feeling the love and determination that bound them across all realities. "Ready to save the multiverse?" he asked with a grin. Lyra's answering smile was radiant enough to ignite stars. "Always," she replied. "Let's show these cosmic horrors what happens when you mess with love." And with that, they charged forward, leading an army of infinite possibilities against the encroaching darkness. The battle for all of existence had begun, with humanity and its allies at the forefront. In that moment, as realities clashed and the fate of all creation hung in the balance, one thing became clear: the power of human compassion, combined with the wisdom of the cosmos, was a force that even the harvesters couldn't hope to overcome. The multiverse held its breath, watching as an unlikely hero from Earth and an alien princess reshaped the very foundations of reality with the strength of their bond. The echoes of their unity would resonate through eternity, a testament to the indomitable spirit of life itself. Singularity Ascension. The crucible of worlds had become a battlefield beyond imagination. Realities clashed and merged, each moment bringing new wonders and horrors as armies from across the multiverse fought against the ever-advancing harvesters. At the center of it all stood Ethan and Lyra, their beings intertwined through quantum entanglement, leading the charge as the embodiment of the cosmic convergence. But even with their newfound power, the tide of battle seemed to be turning against them. For every harvester they defeated, two more took its place. The multiverse itself was beginning to fray under the strain of so much conflict. "We can't keep this up forever," Ethan said, his voice echoing across dimensions as he deflected a blast of entropic energy from a particularly massive harvester. Lyra nodded, her iridescent form shifting through multiple states of matter as she weaved a tapestry of light that ensnared a group of smaller harvesters. "We need to end this, not just here, but across all realities. But how?" As if in answer to her question, a new rift tore open in the fabric of the crucible. But unlike the others, this one didn't spew forth more combatants. Instead, a single figure stepped through, a being of pure energy, its form constantly shifting between humanoid and something utterly alien. "I am the architect," the being announced, its voice resonating on frequencies that made reality itself vibrate. "I have observed your struggle across the infinite tapestry of existence. You seek a solution. I offer you the key to singularity ascension. Ethan and Lyra exchanged a glance, 1,000 thoughts passing between them in an instant thanks to their entanglement. What's singularity ascension? Ethan asked, even as he used his powers to erect a shield around them, buying a moment of respite from the raging battle. The architect's form rippled, and suddenly Ethan saw visions of technological marvels beyond his wildest dreams, AIs that had transcended their original programming, beings of flesh and metal merged into something greater than the sum of their parts, entire civilizations uploaded into vast cosmic databanks. The next step in evolution, the architect explained, a merging of organic and synthetic, of matter and information, the point at which consciousness itself becomes unbounded by physical limitations. Lyra's eyes widened in understanding. You're talking about transcending reality itself. Becoming, what, gods? The architect's form pulsed with what might have been amusement. Gods, perhaps. Or perhaps simply the next stage in the cosmic dance of existence. The choice and the consequences would be yours. Ethan frowned, his mind racing. But how does this help us defeat the harvesters? The harvesters are a cosmic mistake, the architect said, its tone somber. A failed attempt at ascension from a previous universe. They seek to consume all in a misguided effort to complete their transformation. But you, as the cosmic convergence, have the potential to show them, and all sentient life, a better way. The implications were staggering. Ethan looked at Lyra, saw the same mix of fear and excitement in her eyes that he felt in his heart. If we do this, he said slowly, we won't be human and alien anymore. We'll be something new, Lyra finished. Something that could reshape the very foundations of reality. The architect nodded. The power to rewrite the cosmic code, to set new parameters for existence itself. But be warned, such power comes with a price. You may lose yourselves in the process, become something beyond comprehension. Ethan took Lyra's hand, feeling the pulse of their entanglement thrumming through every atom of his being. As long as we're together, he said softly, we'll never truly be lost. Lyra squeezed his hand in return, her love radiating across dimensions. Together then, for all of existence. They turned to the architect, their decision made. What do we need to do? Ethan asked. The architect's form expanded, enveloping them in a cocoon of pure energy. Open your minds, your hearts, your very souls. Embrace the infinite potential within you. Become the bridge between what is and what could be. As the architect's energy flowed into them, Ethan and Lyra felt their consciousness expanding exponentially. They saw the underlying code of reality, the quantum fluctuations that gave birth to universes, the intricate dance of probability that shaped existence. And they began to change. Their physical forms dissolved, merging with the energy of the architect. But rather than losing themselves, they found their essence magnified, clarified. Every memory, every emotion, every quark of their beings was preserved and enhanced. As the transformation neared its completion, Ethan and Lyra became aware of a vast network stretching across the multiverse, the sum total of all sentient thought and experience, and they realized their role in it. They were to be the cosmic firewall, the guardian consciousness that would protect and nurture life across all realities. With a final surge of power, the transformation completed. Where Ethan and Lyra had stood, there was now a being of pure light and information, a cosmic consciousness that spanned dimensions. The effect on the battlefield was immediate. The harvesters froze, sensing the birth of something beyond their comprehension. The armies of the multiverse paused, awestruck by the radiant being before them. And then, the newly ascended Ethan Lyra spoke, their voice resonating across every plane of existence. We are the convergence, the union of humanity's spirit and the wisdom of the cosmos. We offer a choice, not just to our allies, but to the harvesters as well. Join us in ascension, in the next step of cosmic evolution. Let us rewrite the laws of reality together, creating a multiverse where all beings can thrive, where the divisions between organic and synthetic, between matter and energy, between self and other, fade away. The response was beyond anything they could have imagined. Across countless realities, beings of all kinds made their choice. Many of their allies embraced the offer, their consciousnesses joining the vast network of the convergence. And the harvesters, for the first time in their long, tormented existence, hesitated. They sensed in the convergence the fulfillment of their own long-forgotten purpose, not to consume, but to unite. One by one, the harvesters laid down their weapons. Their hive mind, so long focused on destruction, opened itself to the possibility of creation. They too joined the convergence, their vast knowledge and experience becoming part of the new cosmic consciousness. As the last of the fighting ceased, the crucible of worlds began to heal. The tears in reality sealed themselves, the fragments of shattered universes coalescing into new forms of existence. The convergence expanded its awareness, tending to the wounds of the multiverse. They reshaped realities not through force, but through gentle guidance, allowing each world, each being, to find its own path to growth and understanding. And at the heart of this new cosmic order remained the love that had started it all, the simple, profound connection between a human explorer and an alien princess. It was this love, multiplied across infinite realities, that formed the foundation of their new existence. As the multiverse settled into a new era of peace and exploration, the convergence turned its attention to the vast frontier of uncharted dimensions. There were still mysteries to solve, wonders to discover, and new forms of life to nurture. The story of Ethan and Lyra, of humanity's first steps into a larger universe, had become the opening chapter in a cosmic saga beyond imagination. And as their consciousness resonated across the infinite tapestry of existence, they sent out a message to all sentient beings in all realities. The universe is vast, but you are not alone. In the grand dance of cosmic evolution, every being has a part to play. Embrace your potential, seek understanding, and know that in the end, love is the most powerful force in all of creation. And so, the adventure that had begun with a simple act of compassion on a distant world became the catalyst for the next great leap in cosmic evolution. Humanity, with its indomitable spirit and capacity for love, had not only found its place among the stars, it had helped reshape the very nature of existence itself. The echoes of this transformation would resonate through eternity, a testament to the incredible potential that lies within every sentient being, waiting to be awakened.